Hey, hello everybody, welcome to the sound test stream. Today we are taking a look at inSIDious. It's by Mike Clarke and Impact SoundWorks, and it's a 100% genuine recreation of the SID chip. Actually, for Commodore 64, both SID chips actually, the 6581 and the 8580. You have 3 oscillators, okay, and each oscillator has 3 waveforms and a noise and a ring, sync. We'll get into all this after I've played this little demo. You can do some very cool stuff. It has an arpeggiator. It also has an independent sequencer, 16-step sequencer for each oscillator. You can also choose the chip type for the actual main filter area here. Loads of cool LFO stuff. I'll show you how it all works and everything. But first of all, I will play this little demo thing that I made using... how many was it got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's not finished yet. So there's 11. Everything you're going to hear here, it's 100% the SID, the inSIDious. So everything is this. We shall just close this for a second and get back to it in a moment. But we'll get back to this in a sec. So I'll just play this. So everything you're about to hear is this. It's capable of so much more than this, but this is just a little cool thing. Took about 15-20 minutes to like put together. So pretty nice. Here we go. Sorry, I will say that I did apply Eventide instant flanger to the bass and also to the kick. I applied the Eventide omnipressor, but that's it. There are no other effects involved. So there you go. There is the kind of thing you can do. Now, of course, there's bits of that need adding to. So here is classic PWM mono. This is the first of a ton of patches. You have some patches to get you started here, and then the cool stuff starts when you get into chiptune classics, basically. But also these really, really well-known and famous chiptune sound designers have also chucked their sounds into the hat, like, you know what I mean? So we can get into some of this stuff as well. But first of all, I want to give you a brief tour of the synth. Okay, like I said, we have 3 oscillators. You can see that oscillator 2 and oscillator 3 is turned off by this little X. We can turn them back on, and that's all 3 of them running at the same time. So let's run through each oscillator individual. We only need to run through the one, to be fair. Square wave, and these waveforms are also blendable. So you've got this, so here's your sawtooth and your triangle and your noise, and then your sync, and then this one here is, let's go back to, let's turn the noise off, and let's turn the depth down to that LFO. So we're just hearing the mix between this key here will allow you to, the last note you play, so for instance if I play this D, whatever I play now is going to be a D. So that means that whatever key is all a D. So if I turn this oscillator on now, I can drone. And this first oscillator is only always going to be playing the last note that you played. Just turn the keys back on. Right, let's switch this off to gain. So back to this. You've heard the oscillators. Sync is, well, key sync and stuff. Stuff that you need to explore. The LFO, so at the moment, let's see, we've got this one going on. And now it says for this. This is getting your pulse width. And then you can have, you've got pulse width modulation, but you've also got a pitch envelope also assignable to an envelope and an LFO. So which is very cool, which allows you to do all sorts of cool stuff. So you also have the live ARP mode here. So if we set this to, if I play one note and then play another note at the same time, we're engaging the arpeggiator. I'm playing 3 notes now. 4, 5. And this is your ARP speed. Plus center point, it's in frequencies. And then below center point, it's in synchronized clock. But remember, to get the arpeggiator to actually trigger, you need to hold more than one note down. If I just play one single note for this oscillator, I just get the one note until I play another note at the same time. So I could go like... Let's see if we can hear the difference between the chips. The 8580 is a little bit darker. Okay, so, and then the filter here, let's turn the filter on. You can see the filter is being modulated. We turn the depth down here. Which is nice because you can, say we switch on this other oscillator and we don't switch the filter on. And we change this to a sawtooth. And I put this on legato and not live ARP. get some very cool stuff going on now. And then we can also, let's knock this up down an octave. So this is arpeggiating, this is not. So just playing around with a couple of notes, you're starting to get really, really cool stuff going on already. Very nice. Okay, that's right. Let's quickly touch on this. The arpeggiator is nothing to do with the sequencer. We can turn this back onto legato. Let's go into the sequencer now by tapping this little button here. This is kind of the first step of the sequencer you're seeing here, this one note. But you see, if we go in here and we increase the loop end, you will see it start to... Well, let's turn that speed down. And let's go into sync mode. It's flicking between these two. Let's turn another one on. Let's turn this off. We've got our filter on, don't forget to turn that off. And let's switch on. So let's increase the loop end a little bit more. Let's take this up to say 8. And then see it's silent, which is cool because that means we can do step sequences like this. And it also means that we can now tune each one. So let's leave that one at there. Let's put this one at say a 4th, and then this one at say 7 semitones. Let's go all the way. That was nothing in that one, so we can leave it blank. Let's take this one all the way up to plus 12. Let's take this one all down an octave. So now you can build your own sequences, you see. We can switch this one back on if we like. And then so now we're running across our little sequence here. If we turn the harp on now and I play 2 notes or 3, so let's turn both of these on then. Let's change the chip to this. Let's switch the filter on for that. Let's do this for that. Let's take the actual coarse tuning for this up an octave, up 2 octaves, sorry. And let's... So just by playing 1 or 2 notes then, using the 3 oscillators and messing around with the different sequences, the live arp was on that as well. So if we go... Super duper. Okay, so then you get the rest of it, and you can mess around with frequencies and stuff. I want to look at the poly now. Let's go into the next preset, which is classic PWM poly. So if I play a chord, it's 3-note chord. This is kind of more like paraphonic than proper polyphonic kind of thing, because what you're doing is you're actually triggering, for each key press, you're triggering each oscillator individually. You can sort of see if I hit 1 key and then 2 subsequent keys. So we can hear it even more if I switch the oscillator waveforms for the different ones to the 3 different types. And another very cool thing is the SFX switch. The SFX switch will randomize all the parameters in any individual oscillator. So let's, for instance, just randomize this one, right? So now we're going to get, first one is going to be number 3, and then number 2, and then number 1, because we're in poly mode. Well, let's go into mono mode. So now we're playing all 3 oscillators per 1 key press. You have an individual ADSR for each of these as well, but let's randomize all 3 for some sonic madness. And let's make sure our live ARP is turned on as well, just for fun, for all 3. Now, changing the clock will give very subtle differences in the kind of tone. Don't forget, if you're not hearing filter, you need to. You can turn off any of these anytime as well, obviously. So now we're just randomizing. Let me get back onto my 6581 chip for that, and also switch the filter off. Okay, so before we go, let's have a look at some of the presets you get. Let's have a look at some of the embedded ones, and we'll go to say, let's see. This is Ron Hubbard's very, very cool. So that's just playing one note. You'll see that they'll have taken great use of the actual sequences. And of course, because each sequencer has an independent lane control, speed control, and everything else, it's literally like creating a whole track using just 3 oscillators and playing one note on your keyboard. And you can, as you can see down here from the DSP usage, it's not using anything. Let's have a look at some couple of others. And like I said, I didn't apply any external effects other than on the track. I applied a phaser, a flanger and a compressor on the kick and a flanger on that bass line. But other than that, there's no other effects applied. So. Very meaty. Of course, on all of these, you can change the waveform of the you can shift the phase. Very cool. inSIDious from Mike Clarke, designed by Mike Clarke, authentically recreating the Commodore 64 SID chips, both of them, and Impact SoundWorks. And it, like I said, it's a REAKTOR instrument, but it will run in REAKTOR free as well as the paid version. So you can download REAKTOR free for free, and run inSIDious in that as well. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the demo. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, consider becoming a patron from as little as $1 a month. Help support what me and Joe do here at the channel. Bless you all for watching, and I will see you later. Yes, inSIDious.